Hello, I'm Will Payne, Managing Partner at Newland Partners. Thanks for joining us today on this webinar, Weathering the Storm and Being Remembered for the Right Reasons. This is the second webinar in our Be Better series. On the first session, Steve Peace looked at what the coronavirus can teach us about managing change. And in the next two webinars, we will be exploring managing performance and feedback. I hope you find today's session insightful and pick up some valuable tips and ideas on the way. In this session, we are going to look at how we can be better at customer service, to weather the storm and be remembered for the right reasons. The concepts we are going to look at link closely with our own ABC of Service Excellence Learning Programme that some of you will have experienced. The ABC stands for attitude, behaviour and communication. More specifically, on this session, we are going to look at how we can overcome fear and find our inner courage in a crisis. A strategy to lean into the reality of the current situation and focus on what we can do for our customers. And how to communicate effectively by thinking ahead and being ready for the unexpected. So let's start by exploring mindset in a crisis. Take a moment to write down a few words that best describe how you feel about your business in the current COVID-19 crisis. Now place yourself in the shoes of your customers. Write down a few more words that you think would best describe how they are feeling in this situation. Look at the words you have written down. On the one hand, you may have written down words like anxious, uncertain, concerned, and on the other, optimistic, hopeful, energized. Also notice that how we and our customers are affected and feel about the current situation is likely to be the same or similar. It is likely that our ability to empathise and connect with our customers at times of crisis are heightened, and therefore how we act is also an opportunity to deepen the relationship and build greater trust for the future. What you may also notice about the feelings that you wrote down is that they could be situated on a mindset continuum like the one in this slide. At one end of the continuum, we identify with the God help me feeling. We think, I don't know what to do here. We're confronted by something so different it leaves us feeling off balance and uncertain, leading to instinctive fight, flight or freeze behaviours. And at the other end of the continuum, you will also recognise the I've got this feeling. In this mindset, we have confidence in our ability to find a way through the challenge ahead. There is an underlying hope and faith that the stress we may be feeling will end. We embrace the challenge and see that we will emerge a better person. In this state, we show up far more powerfully in the situation, taking positive action and helping others. Those of you on Steve's session last week will see the connection here with the growth and fixed mindset continuum he shared. Under the stress and pressure of a crisis, we typically identify with these states of mind as fear and courage or bravery. Clearly, our customers need us to be agile, not to hold on to the past, but respond by taking a chance when others will not. Steve shared last week the interview with Dr. Michael Ryan, Executive Director of the World Health Organization, in which he emphasizes the importance of acting fast in a crisis and how perfection is the enemy of the good. So, how can we help ourselves, our teams and our customers overcome the fear and move towards courage? I'd like to share a thought-provoking interview about fear with you. It's by Sadhguru, yogi and founder of the Isha Foundation.
The fear is simply because you're not living with life, you're living in your mind. Your fear is always about what's going to happen next. That means your fear is always about that which does not exist. If your fear is about the non-existent, your fear is 100% imaginary. If you're suffering the non-existential, we call that insanity. So, people may be in just socially accepted levels of insanity, but if you're afraid or if you're suffering anything which does not exist, it amounts to insanity, isn't it? People are always suffering, either what happened yesterday or what may happen tomorrow. So your suffering is always about that which does not exist, simply because you're not rooted in reality. You're always rooted in your mind. Mind is… one part of it is memory, another part of it is imagination. Both of them are in one way imagination, because both of them don't exist right now. You're lost in your imagination, that's the basis of your fear. If you were rooted in reality, there would be no fear.
Hopefully that video provoked some interesting thoughts for you. Just to be clear, I don't want to suggest that we should avoid the state of fear in a crisis. I'll return to how fear can help us when we look at communication. However, in the video there are two statements that resonate for me. Fear is about what we think is going to happen next, and if you were rooted in reality, then there would be no fear. Let's dive into the neuroscience of fear for a moment. There is a part of our brain called the amygdala that is tasked with keeping us alive. When it senses risk, it jumps in to save the day, and our fight, flight or freeze behaviours kick in. At this point, we typically start telling ourselves to be brave, which paradoxically heightens our awareness of the risk and therefore stops us in our tracks. Managing fear is essentially about where we focus our attention. If you focus on yourself, on what people think about you, how you feel about what might happen, then it's difficult to bring your best to a situation. But when you take the focus off yourself and shift it to be rooted in reality, attending to something bigger than yourself, then you can be far more resourceful in the situation. Take a few moments to root yourself in the current reality of your customers. What is it that their attention is drawn to right now? It may be one of or a mix of potential job losses, delays in service or supply, risks to health, falling revenues, or the stresses of balancing work with family needs. So if the first part of our behavioural strategy is to be rooted in the customer's reality, then the second part is to focus on what we can do for them. I just want to share this picture with you for a moment. This is a drawing by the 11-year-old daughter of a friend. If you've been on our learning programs in the past, then you may recall a model we use called the influence core. The influence core is based on Stephen Covey's circle of influence that he wrote about in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. What this drawing shows is the organisation of her thoughts, feelings and actions, separating those things that we are concerned about but can't control into the outer core, from those things that we can control in the inner core. By focusing on the inner core, we are better able to make a positive difference to our experience and the experience of our customers too. If you're working remotely at present and have regular check-ins with your teams, this would be a great activity to do on a virtual meeting. Explore what you can do for your customers in this situation. You may want to consider what you can communicate, the steps you can take to reassure and build confidence, innovative workarounds to keep the service up and running, how you can flex the terms of your contracts, and maintaining positivity and growth mindset. By shifting our focus onto the things we can control, we not only reduce our own anxiety and improve our positive state of mind, but that of our customers as well. We're now going to look at some communication strategies in a crisis that are focused on the principle of thinking ahead and being ready. I came across this book last year, How to Survive: Lessons for Everyday Life from the Extreme World, by John Hudson. He is the chief survival instructor to the British military. In his book, he explores the value of preparing to fail or planning for the worst case scenarios. When confronted by the unexpected, new responses are slower to present themselves than ones we have prepared for. Also, we do not make our best decisions when we are under threat. So a very simple thing we can do to improve how we respond in a crisis is to gameplay our responses when a spanner gets thrown in the works. The what if to I will connections. Let's think about that for a moment in the current situation. What are the what ifs we need to prepare for? What if social distancing restrictions remain in place for more than 6 months? What if our customers restrict access to their sites? What if the customer asks for delayed payment terms? The other aspect of preparing to fail that John Hudson explores in his book is related to the power of the subconscious mind to work faster than the conscious mind. By drilling responses into our subconscious, we increase the likelihood that we will act correctly under pressure. In the RAF, these responses, or the what to do in an emergency, are written down on reference cards and kept in the flight suit pockets, and they are practiced on a regular basis until the response is second nature. Also known as flapcards, these are useful resources to develop in collaboration with our teams so that they are better prepared to provide exceptional customer service. One of the core principles in our ABC of Service Excellence program is the concept of consistent positive responding, or CPR. Developing flapcards are a great way to practice and improve the communications you have with your customers, be that by phone, email, or on social media. To wrap up on communication, I want to share a generic flapcard template that you can tailor more specifically for your own communications. Number 1, welcome your customer. Whatever stress or pressure we are under, we do not want to project this on our customers. A warm welcome and show of gratitude to them will go a long way. Number 2, root yourself in reality. Ask questions and be inquisitive about how they are affected by what is going on. Aim to see the world from where they are standing. Number 3, identify what is within your control to do for your customer. Focus on this. If you have to tell them you can't do something, offer an alternative. Number 4, be clear and concise about the actions you are taking and when they will be done. If you have to make further inquiries or seek permission, tell them that is what you are going to do and a time by when you will get back to them. And number 5, close the communication positively, reminding them that you are there if they need you. That brings us to the end of this session. I hope you've enjoyed it and have some great ideas to take away and put into practice. Before we close, I'd like to remind you about the next session, Be Better at Performance Management, which will be hosted by Steve Peace. Also, we are still open for business and here to help you. Do get in touch if you want to discuss any bespoke online learning for your teams. We continue to provide our Insights personality profiling services and Management Learning Hub with CPD accreditation. Thank you for joining us, and I hope to see you again on the next Newland Partners Be Better webinar.